Okay, welcome to another class on some random errors. So number one, I asked her where was the nearest bank. This is a very common mistake, and it's a mistake with reported speech. Yeah, this is some speech which has been reported. In fact, it's a question which has been reported. And questions usually look like that. Where is the nearest bank? And that's probably exactly what the person said, those very words. Where is the nearest bank, question mark. But this is not a question. When you say I asked her, that's not a question. And that's why we don't use the question word order. Yeah, usually you need to put the verb to be here. But when it's not a question, you move the verb to be, and let's do it in red so it's clear. You move the verb to be after the noun. So I asked her where the nearest bank was. That's the way you report a question. You use ordinary word order. Where the nearest bank was. Yeah. Now it's possible to say I asked her where is the nearest bank. But that is direct speech then, and if you were going to punctuate it, you would need to punctuate it like direct speech with speech marks and the rest of it. But, you know, when you're just speaking, the fact that you've used the past tense for this verb shows me that it's reported, and so it needs to be a reported question, which is not a question. I asked her where the nearest bank was. Now, we have the same mistake right here, and it was the same student that made this mistake as well, and so I wanted to highlight it because it's the same thing. She asked me, and then the student has used the direct question. What music do you like? That's probably what the student, well, what this woman, this girl said. She asked, you know, she said directly, she said, what music do you like? But we've not got the pronoun you, so it's definitely not a direct question. This is an indirect question, just like this one is an indirect question, and indirect questions are not questions. So she asked me what music I liked. Get rid of the do. There's no auxiliary verb when it's not a question. You only use auxiliary verbs like do, does and did for questions, yeah? Do you smoke? Do you have a brother? But when it's not a question, it needs to disappear. So she asked me what music I liked, and then it's correct. So be careful with reported questions. Please remember that they're not questions, and so you shouldn't be using auxiliary verbs, and you shouldn't be using question word order. You need to use the word order that is in an ordinary sentence. So I asked her where the nearest bank was. She asked me what music I liked. Okay, number two. Every morning I had to make 15 laps of the swimming pool. Now, this is a vocabulary problem, and it's a problem that has already appeared on this course many, many times because it's tricky. You've got to learn the collocations for do and make. And I want you to remember that do is used for work and duties. And sport, well, you might consider it a duty. You know, if you're doing something every day, you're making yourself do it every day because you want to keep fit. Yeah, and remember, we do say do sport as well. Do sport, do exercise. Yeah, you know, you do an exercise in your maths book, but you also do exercise, no A, yeah, do exercise when you go running or jogging or something like that. And so it shouldn't be too surprising that we use do here for 15 laps.